March 8 globally is a day set aside to celebrate social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day usually is a call to action for accelerating gender parity. The 2018 World Women's Day, International Women's Day, has come and gone, but the legacies, the ambience, the fallouts still play around. That will be the focus on Insight today, and coming on the heels of that, we'll be discussing women issues in Nigeria. The women, or the woman, is a multitasker. One of the cartoons during the 2018 International Women's Day showed a picture of a woman at the same time carrying a baby, at the same time attending to her husband, children, cooking, meaning a woman naturally is a multitasker. So we shall be examining how do we maintain a gender parity mindset, challenge stereotypes and bias, forge for positive visibility of women, influence, name it. My guests to discuss this, I have a politician and a woman of God, Bishop Unita Wendy. Thanks for joining me on Insight. She is of the Lifesavers Ambassadors International. Also, I have an academic and a development expert, Dr. M.M. Omakaro. Dr. M.M. Omakaro is the Executive Director, Dave Omakaro Foundation, Nigeria, Acting Executive Secretary, Dave Omakaro Institute on Aging and Development. Thanks for joining me on Insight.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Let's look at it from the global perspective. Analysis, globally down to Nigeria. Women.
We are glad that at least the globe, international community, set aside one day, International Day for the celebration of women, acknowledgement of women's achievement in all the spheres that you have mentioned: economic, social, cultural, political, domestic, if I should say, down to family, and down to individual achievement, fulfillment. And I want to say that this started a long while ago, 1909. And actually, it's not just a day to celebrate. I would call it a movement that brings focus on discrimination, that brings focus on inequity, brings the focus on everything that has conspired, whether it's institutional, whether it's a regulatory framework, whether it is policy, everything. Perspective, stereotypes, mindset, everything that has conspired in any sphere, on any level, to put the woman down, to limit the woman. So this day is a day that people choose, and people choose to respond to the day in any which way. Some go on strike, some demonstrate, protest, and some just sit down to give awards to women who have come through these barriers and have now become role models, to say that culture didn't keep me down, disparity, gender disparity didn't keep me down. So I have a voice. Actually, women have, we have a voice. It's just how do we empower the voice? So internationally, it's welcoming that we set it aside, and it calls now attention to the World Economic Report on gender gap, because in 2017 a report came that it would take 200 years for there to be gender parity. So you can imagine the gap. And so it is also good that, yes, it's international, but every nation now takes the day to look back at itself. It's a mirror. So you look back at yourself and you see over the years, even with CEDAW being domesticated, even ratified, domesticated, and then we have some piecemeal legislation. The act to prohibit violence against persons that came from CEDAW. So how far have we gone? When you look from the grassroots, you look to the girl child, you look to the youth who is a girl, you come to the woman, be her the housewife, be her in a managerial position at whatever level, in the corporate world, in the informal sector, you go to the Senate, you go to the House of Representatives, and then you look in the media and say, how have women fared? So this is the day that calls attention for us to really give ourselves a report card, to look at what we've done and be honest with ourselves. So that's
now that the day has been celebrated, something piqued my attention. All over the place we saw hashtag Press for Progress. Press for Progress compared to other years, International Women's Day. Is there any comparison? Have we moved on at all?
I will say it. As long as you are alive, there is a movement. There is a great move.
Okay, because people will say that every year we celebrate, we celebrate. Is it all about celebration? What have we done to really tie it up with actions?
If you look at today, you find out that women are creating more awareness than ever before. People are coming up. Women are coming up. Voices are speaking. It's as a result of the constant pressing forward of a woman somewhere. So if you ask me that question, I will tell you, yes, there is a progress. We are not just stagnant. And I know gradually we'll get there. Thank you.
Okay, let's look at it from this perspective.
Okay.
Let me go off the 2018 International Women's Day.
Okay.
Women in Nigeria. Women in politics, women in public governance, women in entrepreneurship. Let's speak to women in politics. Comparatively, 1999 when democracy returned, it has progressed 16 years, moving on to 17, 18 years now. How well, how far have women fared? You're a politician, you're a bishop, you have even tested your luck in politics. So will you say the woman has fared well?
I will always compliment a woman, because if we look back, you find out that where we are today is far better than where we were yesterday as a Nigerian women. I will comment on them, and I also said that we are moving further and we are moving forward. Now more women are coming up in politics. Before, women shied away from it. Women feel they can't be able to do it. But now you see that even people in the states are coming up, even in the villages. They are coming up, they want to become something. It simply means something is working. There is a movement, whether we say it or not, there's a movement that is going round and that is stirring up women. So I will say to you, yes, women, they are trying their best and we are moving forward. If they just give us a little push, I bet you we're going to be there. Push? Okay, you want me to tell you?
Go ahead.
The little push is let men really look at us and know that we have what it takes. We are not just like a weaker sex as they think they are. We have what it takes to contribute to better our nations. We have what it takes to build up our nation. Let them give us a chance, because we don't want to fight. We don't want to. If you look at that theme for the year, it's a praise for progress. Praise simply means irresistible influence upon something. It simply means we will continue to praise, not giving up on our vision, on our dreams as a Nigerian woman. If the men can have an understanding that we too can contribute, if we can manage our homes well, we can also extend it from home to nation, and we'll be able to build up our nation. So let the men see that we're not competing with them,
okay,
but we have a quota to contribute. They should give it up to us so that we can also make impact to our generation, so that we will not be a failure, so that our children will not look at us and say, Mama, you didn't do well in your time.
Okay. Let's speak to, naturally you hear people say it's a man's world, it's a man's world. Let's look at women in entrepreneurship, women in development. And Doctor, I know you fall within that bracket. Will you say within the entrepreneurship development platform or chain is still dominant men or women are really shoring up
I would beg to put it in context.
Okay.
Because we are talking about gender parity.
Okay.
And I just talked about the gap. It will take 200 years to catch up. And Nigeria is still within that frame. I want to say that there is no way you can discuss and understand gender parity and why things are the way they are, except you really understand the context of culture. how over the many years that we have existed as a nation, really, the role of culture has been to emphasize the stereotypes, the perspectives, and all the norms and the cultural institutions and traditional practices that has over the years put the woman down. Of course, you know that Nigeria is male-dominated society. I don't need to tell you that. And of course, you know that most families prefer the boy child because of culture, because of tradition. And then through socialization, we have come to internalize, to be taught. Even the mother, the women will be the one to cry for the boy child, even when the man is not bothered. It is the woman that will feel so uncomfortable. Why? Because of the unseen hands, the pressure of society. And right from within the family, except maybe for those that are educated now and know better, you find out that the preference is for the boy to be given every opportunity. If there is to be a choice who goes to school, it's for the boy to go first. So right from birth, the girl child comes under some kind of limitation. And then when you talk about the domestic roles, the care roles, those roles, who runs to go and bring water, who goes to the stream, goes to the bush to bring firewood, who makes the fire, who distributes the food, who cooks the food, it is the girl child. So the boy child is given all the time in the world, all the encouragement in the world to go and achieve, whereas the girl child is walking through limitation, and in sometimes and in some cultures.
But I thought years of advocacy has changed all this.
I don't think it has. I don't think it has. Why? Because I work in the field of aging, and I deal with older women. And when you go to the rural areas, even in the urban centers, when you see a typical older woman, you see a lifelong trajectory of all accumulated disadvantages, right from when that woman was a girl child. You see that woman did not have a chance for quality education because it was drawn. That comes into entrepreneurship. Sometimes you see that women, in the first instance, there are some societies that think that the woman, for instance, you don't have rights to own land. You don't have rights to inheritance. Do you understand? Because they believe that, frankly, you are not built to work with these issues. So when access to finances is kept from you because of your gender, because of your sex, and then access for quality education is kept from you because of your sex, what are the chances? So you find that, yes, the women that have broke these barriers have proven that, frankly, there is no biological difference when it comes to the brain of the woman or the one. So they are doing well. So you see, if you look at managerial positions in Nigeria, you go to the media, go to our film industry, entertainment industry, come to the banking sector. The capital market at some point was headed by a woman. And you see that women that have been given that chance, that culture did not put them down, have really made good of themselves and their role models. Whereas you have women in the informal sector who, if they had been given that chance, would also have made. But you have the rural women. They are still farming. They form themselves into cooperatives. One-on-one, I've discussed with them. And you see that these are people that have the wit, they have the wisdom. All they are asking for is just access. Give us the same access. Give us access to long life opportunities to learn.
Okay.
Break that illiteracy. And then you see a woman image. A woman that, remember, our traditional times. The likes of Emeta, the women in Nigeria that fought the wars in those traditional times. We still have those women in Nigeria. We still have that girl child that, if given that opportunity, that girl child can contest that Senate seat. If the level play, my sister was talking about politics, and I want to differ a bit, that Nigeria in this 8th assembly is not doing well, has not done as well as they did. How many women do we have in the Senate? We have only 7 women compared to what we had before. Out of 109 senators, we have 7 women. How many do we have in the House of Representatives? I don't think they are up to 20.
There is this assumption. Well, I don't know whether it is true. You are here to prove it. I'm already threatened here because there's no gender balance here on set. Now, that the women don't like themselves. Because from what Dr. said, between 1999 to date, there was an increment, yearly increment in terms of women representation. So how come the number whittled down? Is it that truly women don't like themselves?
Coming in that aspect that women don't really love themselves, I think it's not really true. It all depends on who you've met. If you meet with me you might conclude that women love themselves. And if you meet someone else, you said, I'm not too sure. So it's an individual thing. But if I am to say it, I would say globally, women love themselves. The only thing we are trying to say that let's put more effort. Women, support your fellow woman. Stand with your fellow woman. If there's a vision, push it. Whatever you know you can do, at any point you can give a woman a push. Please go ahead and do that. We love ourselves. It's just that, like my sister have just said, money is one of our problems. And because men feels that we don't have much, they uses this money to get into us. And when they get into us, buy us over. You see that a woman will see a fellow woman that is doing something you need to stand with. Because you have gotten a little money to take care of your home, finally you want to stand with a man that have given you something. So you look at it that we don't love ourselves. No, who can have access to money. I bet you we can stand on our feet when we take our decision. And I'm believing God that God is going to help us to come up to a time when women will be empowered financially. When we said we want to do this, we stand and we do it without looking at who will give us 1 naira, who will give us 1 kobo. Okay. So women love themselves. Okay. All we need is empowerment.
From a progressive perspective, I had a chat with a group of women recently, and they came up with a slogan, they want to be the change they want. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they said was, it's possible that women can come together, form a political party, drive it from presidency to every level, and they will find women there. But the question now is, how ready, how well?
How ready?
How well?
How well? If you allow me, I will tell you that women, Nigerian women, are ready. You know why? Because they have broken some barriers and some limitations. They have come up to understand who they are. It's not the lies that people said about them. It's all about their personal discovery of who they are. So they don't feel, it's like we have missed it for a long time. Right now we can get it done. And I bet you they are moving and they are pressing hard. And they meant it. When you go to women organizations, you hear women speak, you know that women are ready. It's not until we come to war. We don't war. Women are not known for war. We are peaceful agents. Well, we have a way of handling our things. That is why you look as if we are not ready. We are ready. We are working. We are planning. You don't blow your trumpet until when it is right time. I want you to know that women are ready. Okay.
We're not discussing affirmative action here, but I think so far, even if I'm not making a case for women, the various governments from 1999, Olusegun Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and now Muhammadu Buhari, we see some kind of progression. Positions before now, you don't find, I'm talking about women in the public governance process. Yeah. Now we have seen women occupy very strategic positions. Let me not use the word juicy. Strategic positions. You find women deputy governors, you find women House of Reps members, you find senators, you find ministerial appointments, all that. Is that not enough space? Is the space not enough?
As a matter of fact, there's less, 12.5% less. Nigeria was really racing towards that affirmative action. But for some reasons, I don't know, we had more women in governance some 4 years ago than we have now. But anyway, appointments are still being made. So that is not to say that that is closed. But it's just to stay aware and to be conscious that if you have, as at 206 census, the Nigerian woman in population was, I think, 49.1%, and the male, the female, 49 point something percent, and the male was 51%. And it's not always so in other climes. You have the women more. So when you have a chunk of the population, just put it half of the population, being marginalized, And when you have half of the population not giving access. Now, if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, let me go there. You take goal number 1, end poverty in all its form everywhere. The face of poverty is the face of the woman. The face of poverty is the face of that illiterate woman, that rural woman. And then you take the next one. It talks about end hunger and then promote nutrition and bring sustainable agriculture. It's the women that are the subsistent farmers. That is their livelihood. It's the women that are hungry, with the babies backed. They are looking for ravaging to eat.
They're looking at the rural area.
Yes, and even the urban centers. Look at our unemployed girls. Look at the prostitution ring, the trafficking ring. You covered immigration and trafficking. It's poverty and hunger. And then you go to the next one. Ensure inclusive and quality education. Inclusive and quality education and lifelong learning opportunities. And then there are some areas you don't even see girls drop out. Girls are more. So all these goals, the nation has to press. When they say press for progress, when we look at the goals, we look at the targets, we look at the indicators, everything has a face of the woman. Not to talk of goal number 5. Okay, the other one, goal number 4 is about health. The number 3 is health. Ensure healthy lives. You know the health situation of women, from reproductive health issues. That is it. Maternal mortality is the woman that is at the center. Neonatal mortality is a woman that is at the center of it. And then you come now to the real issue. Achieve gender equality. Achieve gender equality and empower women and girls. It shows that women were the ones left behind. Women are the vulnerable people. So when you look at Nigeria, and you look at entrepreneurship, and you look at governance, go to any field that you want to go to, except you address the issue of poverty, you address the issue of hunger, you address the issue of inclusion in education and quality education, and then you address the empowerment issue, whether it's financial empowerment. My sister just talked about politics, and by your question you assumed that women are the reason why women don't win, because you say, you know, women don't love themselves. Therefore, a woman stands for election. There is a popular example that they use. A certain woman stood for election as president and only got 1 vote. To be nominated as a presidential candidate, only got 1 vote. And people have used that to say, oh, because women did not vote. And you forget that when they say women are ready, you forget that that woman in that family that is coming out for politics has to have the permission of the husband. And you forget that for that woman to mount, except a few who are financially empowered, very few are. The other woman who may have the temperance, the attitude, the capability, the education to want to come and make a difference will not have the financial power, she says it, and will now have to depend on the men folk.
All right, that takes me to, at that point, inclusiveness.
Yeah.
The government of the day has talked about inclusiveness, but a situation where the space is open for the woman, and she tells you, no, I don't want that space. You don't like it. You want this one. How will you move on? You concede easily.
So easily.
Yeah. A space is open for you, and you said, no, this one is not supposed to for a woman. You leave it for the one that you think for is a woman. Yet, they are open the space for you. You don't want to catch in on the opportunity.
I think it's rare occasion. Is rare. Not a woman, not a Nigerian woman of today that will see a space and say it's meant for a man. A Nigerian woman of today have known their rights. They've known that they have what it takes. They have known that the difference between them and the man is only when you are a wife and you are under a man. That means you have to submit. They have known that they have the right, the equal right of a position to rule, to reign, and have dominion. So I'm not sure it might be rare. It's not just too open like that. A woman will reject a position because you feel is a man's position. No, in fact, a woman would like to take it to prove to the men that she can do what they can do. So I'm not sure. Maybe you've seen 1 or 2, but I have not really seen. Maybe the woman do not like that position. Maybe if it cannot suit her, not because it's a man's position. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to civics now. Women and civics. 2019 is an election year. We have heard so much about people to go and get their PVCs. People should be politically savvy. People should know their right, to know that it's not about violence. It's about just walking to the polling booth to vote who you want. And in attaining this, would you say the Nigerian woman is ready to play it the voter education way, to know that, okay, we want to take a decision, by next election we want a woman in this position, and we'll use our PVCs to do that? Are they ready?
Yeah, I want to believe that they are. I want to believe that there has been in recent times serious awareness of the power of the vote at the levels and in spheres where you think that politics will not be discussed. The church, for instance, I often hear encouragement. Prayers will not be counted as votes. So go and get registered and get your vote. In the mosque, it's also encouraged. Prayers is not going to vote. Go get. So I see that Nigerians are ready because they have come to believe in their collective power to change the situation. But I want to still talk about the woman and civic responsibility vis-a-vis standing for election. Apart from voting, you standing for election. And I want to say that there are a few things that discourage women, although they should be courageous, because they are also, I mean, for people who have a temperament to go into politics and stand for election. Why? Because you see a lot of violence. You see where you have electioneering campaigns. You see the roughness. You see the thuggery. And you see the violence. It takes a woman with heart and a woman that is dogged from grassroots, and that also has the support of the male folk, because women can't do it alone. Let's not deceive us. Just like the male cannot do it alone. To brace the kind of climate of politics that we have in Nigeria. Except where politics is sanitized and everybody has a level playing field. Where by act of parliament, you don't bring so much money into it, which I know this electoral act seems to want to take care of that. You don't have to cover millions to buy a form to stand in. You don't have to cover millions to go on. In fact, it should be regulated so that if you have your supporters and they believe in you, and it is like you need maybe 1 million to buy that form, a few people can come together and pay for the form for you. So where it is so monetized, and when you calculate the capital that you need to invest in politics, that's what discourages a lot of women. And that's why you find a lot of people now compromised. They're compromised. And then again, you find also a situation where I call it immediacy syndrome because of previous disappointments. Voters over the years have come to be so disappointed by politicians who promise heaven and earth. And then when they get to the platform, they forget their promises and they forget their electorate. So you find a typical electorate. He said, Oga, I'm not interested in your grammar. What is in your hand? So it becomes monetized.
So how do we leave that?
Immediately, I want what comes to me now. So give me, because after I vote for you, you'll be gone. I will not see your brake lights. So these are the things that need to be sanitized. That Nigerian politics is not so much money politics. That people believe in manifestos, they go to town hall to really say, and we have debates. We have debates, televised debates, presidential debates, senatorial debates, where people will come and give an account of what they did. Should they want to come back? Tell us what you did in time past. Let the electorate hold you accountable. Let them point to where you said you would do and you have not done. Until Nigeria comes to that place, it is exceedingly difficult for a decent woman, a woman, you know, to say, I want to be in politics, and you put on your show, you become a thug. It is difficult. But I salute the Nigerian women. I salute the seven that are in the Senate. Anytime I see a Nigerian woman in the Senate or in the House, I look with awe, because I'm wondering, what did they go through to come to where they are? And even in the Senate, even to speak up in the House, you find majority of the men going in one direction. Did they not just throw out the gender bill? They threw out the gender bill, and we are here discussing gender parity.
I hope through that Bishop Wendy, she has tried in politics too.
Yes, yes.
And I hope you're building up to go back by next elections. Now, it's been press for progress. Coasting home now, how do we press for this progress by the woman?
I come up with one. A Nigerian woman should not give up.
Yes.
The word press is all about mounting pressure. Don't give up. You might not get it today. Does not mean you will not get it tomorrow. You can only stop yourself by not trying again. The word praise is keep trying. It look as if you will not make it. Don't stop. It look as the world is against you. Don't stop. It look as nobody is standing by you. Don't stop. Keep doing what you are doing until you advance. Progress is an advancement. Until you advance. If you stop pressing, it means you've been won. Nobody is tagged a failure until the person decided not to try again.
Or not to be violent, right?
Not to be violent. Okay. No. Women are not known to be violent people. But they know how to get the things done when they want it done. Okay. It's the praise is where praise for progress does not mean use violence, use gun, use this. No. You are just trying to stir up that woman that is inside of you to know that you can make it.
Okay. Before I let you go, what message do you have for Nigerian women who reside in these troubled spots where where the government is trying everything to restore, like the northeast, some parts of Benue, Taraba? What message do you have for them to have that faith that something will be done?
Women listening to me, I want to talk to you, and I said, don't give up. Despite of the crisis that is within the city or the state where you are, it's not the end of life. At times, crisis brings revival. God have a way of doing something. Don't go and fold your hands or run away from your community and say, I cannot keep going on this way. Because if you decided to withdraw, who will do it? It is just you that can do it. You must take the bull by the horn, no matter what it takes. Because of what the fight you are fighting now is what your children will benefit. If you fail today, you have failed your children. We as mothers are not even praising hard because of ourselves, but because of our children. We don't want our children to go through what we went through. We want to bring them to a limelight when they can be able to use their rights and achieve so many things that will help the nation to move forward. So you, mother, don't give up. Don't run away. Don't say, I can't continue because of what is happening around me. Don't forget, you are fighting for your child. You are fighting for the future of your child tomorrow. Don't give up so that your child will not disappoint at you.
Okay, Doctor?
Yeah, I want to say, when we talk, the theme for this year is press for progress. And I want to say that this theme applies at all levels. Within family, within yourself as a woman, you press for progress in spite of the barriers. If pressing means get a good education, then go to school. Get a scholarship. Approach somebody, you understand, that can help you. If pressing means you that is in the position of authority, you that can bring change to your community as a woman, you press to ensure that that girl child is not that victim of discrimination in your society. If pressing for progress means you as a mother to ensure that the preference for the boy child is not such that it begins to make that girl child look inferior, you stop it. Press for progress, for parity, for equality within the family.
Thank you.
As a father and as a mother. So, and I want to continue to say that there are many levels. You in that office, in that managerial position, you can press for progress. Do you have women around you? Are you a mentor? Are you mentoring them? Are you pouring yourself? Are you sharing your experience?
Thank you so much. I'm also afraid I have to go to here, Doctor.
Progress. So press for
Bishop
progress.
Winita Wendy, Lifesavers Ambassadors. It was nice talking with you.
Thank you.
And Dr. Memo Omokoro, Executive Director, Dave Omokoro Foundation, Acting Executive Secretary, Dave Omokoro Institute on Aging and Development. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. And I believe a lot of your viewers will be amazed that today you're discussing women, not aging.
Not aging.
Okay.
It's all related.
I'm not speaking with you. I believe your message has been passed. And maybe by next year when we are celebrating another International Day of Women, we would have seen a lot of mileage recover.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.